Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the weirdest and honestly saddest stories that we've taken a look at in a while here, right? Now, we've covered a lot of pretty odd things on the channel, and some of the headlines that we've seen in our time making videos have been pretty messed up, have been pretty sad, but I gotta be honest with you, this is definitely one of the just more tragic stories that I've ever really covered here on the channel. I mean, you gotta think about just what this is all over, right? And no, that title is not clickbait. That title is not actually any sort of bullshit, right? This is a legitimate story in modern day 2023 United States, right? You would think that people had progressed to a point, right, where something like this just would never be an issue enough for somebody to lose their life over, but unfortunately, you would be wrong. People can lose their life over quite literally anything. The disagreements that people get into can boil over regardless of what they're about. And in a situation like this, we now see somebody who had their entire life ahead of them, somebody with all the potential to live out the rest of their life and do whatever they want, is now dead over something as frivolous as sauces from a fast food restaurant. So this is taking place in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, and the immediate area around it. I guess this is probably more like the suburbs of D.C., but today we'll be taking a look at a story of a 16-year-old girl who was stabbed and killed by what appeared to be one of her friends because of an argument, and that argument was, I guess, just revolved completely around these McDonald's dipping sauces. The article doesn't mention any other motive, doesn't mention, any other problem that the two may have had. In some situations, right, you'll read, 16-year-old girl dead after McDonald's sauce dispute, and you'll be like, oh, well, let me read into this. And, the article will say, the girls were arguing at school, they had beef for a few weeks or whatever, and it just boiled over. Not even that is the case in this situation. This is one of the most just ridiculous, unnecessary losses of life we've ever seen here. So, a teenage girl is dead following a stabbing outside a Washington, D.C. McDonald's early Sunday morning, CBS affiliate WUSA-TV reported. According to D.C. police, they were called to a hospital around 2:10 a.m. Sunday after a 16-year-old girl came in seeking treatment for stab wounds. Despite the life-saving efforts, the victim later died. The victim was identified by police as Naima Ligon, I believe is how you pronounce that, of Waldorf, Maryland. According to WUSA-TV, police said the teen had been stabbed during a fight with another teen girl in a car outside the McDonald's at the intersection of U and 14th Streets Northwest. A detective testified in court that the girls were at the McDonald's together, ordered some food, and then got into a car together, according to WUSA-TV. At that point, the detective said the girls got into an argument over the sauces they got, and that's when the stabbing happened. D.C. police said another 16-year-old girl, also from Waldorf, Maryland, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder on Sunday. Judge Sherry Beatty Arthur reiterated the cause of the fight when she decided to hold the teenage suspect at a secure facility until her next hearing, Fox 5 DC reported. Quote, at the time of her arrest, the suspect was found to be in possession of a knife, D.C. police said in a news release. So, just a honestly ridiculous headline, right? I mean, the vast majority of us know kind of what the issue is at hand, right? Like, I'm sure many of you have been to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, some fast food restaurant, right? And they mixed up your sauces or they didn't put sauce in the bag, right? Now, I will say that definitely is an infuriating moment, but is it worth somebody being killed over? I don't think most people would agree, right? Like, it just isn't ever really that fucking serious. Like, let's go ahead and consider the possibilities here, right? Let's say they're arguing over who got barbecue sauce for their chicken nuggets. Either go back to the restaurant and get more sauce, like go through the drive-thru and ask for more sauce. I'm sure, maybe they'll charge you a couple bucks or whatever. Hopefully not a couple dollars, like a couple, 25 cents per sauce at the most or whatever, right? But you get my point. Just go back to the place and get more sauce, right? Like, it's really not that fucking deep. Or just, don't care. I don't know. It feels like that's probably a pretty, light response to the issue, but, does it really fucking matter, how many or what dipping sauces are in the fucking McDonald's bag, bro? Is that really the biggest issue on planet Earth right now? I don't know. I just can't imagine that being, my biggest concern in life at all, ever, bro. Like I said, I've gone to McDonald's and had issues with sauce, right, getting put in the bag, and, it never has ever been that serious, right? I've never went back and like cussed at the fucking employees. I've never freaked out on it. Like it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Now, unfortunately, in this situation, both of the people involved are 16-year-olds, right? Like these are children. I mean, these people once again had their whole lives ahead of them. They could have done so many different things other than get in fucking life-ending fights over McDonald's sauces. I don't even understand how that really boils over and like out of control. I'm just trying to imagine, like, yeah, oh, fuck, they didn't give us our barbecue. And then, like, where does that then escalate to you stabbing your friend? Like, I'm really just trying to figure that out. Because, like, everything about this story indicates that these girls were friends at first, right? Because, like, I mean, if it's your enemy, right? Like, this is, I guess, some girl at school you don't like. Now, the odds of you, like, driving to McDonald's with her and hanging out and just, like, getting food together, that doesn't really seem too high, right? So, like, I would assume these were two people who were, like, on good terms, which makes it even more confusing because, like, it would make sense if there was some, like, alternative factor that kind of played into it. Like, once again, they're friends that dislike each other or whatever at school. Well, I shouldn't say friends then, but, girls that dislike each other at school, they run into each other at McDonald's, it's on site, somebody gets fucking stabbed. Like, that makes a little bit more sense. Not to say that that's, like, good or that's the right thing to do, but, like, I could at least understand that one, you know what I mean? But this is, like, somebody you're cool with, right? This is somebody that it seems like at least you were friends with. And it devolved over what? A couple dipping sauces in a bag that cost, 2 cents for McDonald's to manufacture. And that's what's even sadder about this whole story. It's not even like this girl died for like a good cause or legitimate purpose, you know what I mean? She didn't like die trying to save people from a fucking bank fire, right? She died over a McDonald's dipping sauce argument. So not to like make fun of the girl who passed away because like, I mean, it's not funny. Like this is a situation someone should not die over, right? But just how frivolous of a fucking problem this is in the first place, man. I can't imagine being the parents really of either kid in this situation, right? Because on one hand, right, you're the parents of the girl who was stabbed to death, right? Your kid's never coming back, right? They're dead. And over something that realistically didn't matter at all. That's gotta be tragic. Holding a child for 9 months, raising them for 16 years, and then something like this happens, right? But then on the other hand too, right, your other 16-year-old in this situation here is now probably gonna be locked up for quite some time. Now, here in the US, I don't know how it works in other places, the closer you get to like being 18, the more likely you are to get charged as an adult, especially depending on the crime. Now, if it's like petty vandalism or something, you might get away with it, right? You might get a little fucking slap on the wrist and warned or whatever, but obviously being like 16 or 17 and just like outright killing somebody, especially over a situation like this, they will usually in those situations charge you as an adult, which means obviously you can get way more like harsher sentencing. You can usually get more time added as a punishment for the crime. And I would hope that the courtroom decides to charge the girl who killed the other one in this situation as an adult, right? Now, you might be like, oh, well, Optimus, she's only 16, right? Her brain's not fully developed. She's still technically a child. Maybe she really didn't know what she was doing, right? Well, if she didn't know what she was doing, obviously, they'll do some sort of like competency test to see if she's like sane or fit to stand trial, right? Now, if she's not by whatever reason, she's insane or whatever they end up legally deciding, usually they end up finding a way to like get these people off the street anyway, like they go to a fucking treatment facility for crazy people. And truth be told, that's probably where you belong if you're willing to kill somebody over which dipping sauces got put into a fast food bag, right? It's such an animalistic reason to kill somebody, right? Like, people kill each other every day. That's nothing new. Even in the sad reality of the world, man, kids kill each other every single day on this planet, right? But usually it's not over fucking something just so dumb, man. And also, let's also point this out, right? I'm a big fan of like the Second Amendment. I believe in the right to bear arms and whatnot, but can we just go ahead and pose the question here? Why was a 16-year-old girl carrying around a fucking knife, right? Like, I don't know, man. Why are we just having children out here carrying fucking weapons? I would understand if it was a utility knife or something like that, you know, a little pocket knife, little Swiss Army knife or something. That would kind of make sense because you can use that in a lot of different contexts. You can use that to cut string or anything, right? Like there's reasons to have something like that. But I'm going to assume that's not what this stabbing was carried out with. It had to have been some sort of more capable weapon because, I mean, it killed this girl. I've never really heard of many people being stabbed to death with like a Swiss Army knife or a pocket knife, right? So why did this 16-year-old girl have a fucking just a knife carrying it around like nothing, man? Now, don't get me wrong, I know there are some like ghetto areas and there's some dangerous places to be, but it shouldn't be to the point where we have children carrying fucking weapons. That's very, I would say, indicative of a larger problem at hand. Just what kind of world do we live in is what this kind of story really makes me wonder. Like, we really have children out here dying over something like McDonald's sauces in our world. It's fucking, where is this country gone? The new generation, like, I don't want to sound like a fucking old geezer or whatever. Like I said in a couple videos, I'm in my mid-20s, so to me, like, looking at situations like this, it's like, oh, what the fuck are these kids doing, right? And like I said, I probably sound elderly, right? I probably sound like I'm ready for jazz in the elderly house, but it just makes you wonder, like, what the fuck is wrong with kids these days? What the fuck is wrong with people in general these days? Who is raising these children with such low morals and, like, such fucked up moral compasses in general, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, for your 16-year-old daughter to turn out, like, willing to fucking kill people for stuff like this, honestly, you had to have been just, like, neglecting your job as a parent for a long fucking time, man, because obviously most people have it pretty well ingrained into them, not even at, like, a insanely old age, right, that killing people is not acceptable, and that just going around, especially over something like this, and taking people's lives and creating victims and just destruction like this is not cool. It's not acceptable. It's not fucking, there's no reason for it at the end of it all. But, you know, for your 16-year-old daughter to even find this, like, acceptable, there has to have been some sort of, like, fault with the parenting and the people around this girl. Just a tragic situation in general that should have never happened. But with that being said, man, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this McDonald's murder and signing out.